Hello, in this video I'd like to show you how you can incorporate layer parenting into your Smart Magnet Rig workflows. It's important to understand from the very beginning that the only reason to use layer parenting in your Smart Magnet Rig workflows is because it's capable of tweening elements along arcs. This is the only thing that layer parenting is good at. Everything else is just a complete disaster. It's full of bugs, it's full of dead ends, it's a completely underdeveloped system that is no match in any other respect to Smart Magnet Rigs. So what we actually do with layer parenting is just apply it as wrapping just a shell over a Smart Magnet Rig core. When we finish our posing, when we're done with our animation and we want to clean up some tweens, this is where layer parenting comes in handy. So let me just enable layer parenting for this character. This is a Smart Magnet Rig, and I can do so using the toggle command, layer parenting toggle, from the menu or using its shortcut key, which is semicolon. As you could see, we have PL added as prefixes to the layer names, just as visual indicator that these layers are parented now. If I grab the free transform tool, you will see they behave as parented layers. If I drag this arm here, I can demonstrate one of the horrific bugs in the layer parenting system. If I flip horizontally this element here, look what happened. It travels at every flip, it just travels. Not only it travels, but other weird things happen, but the traveling is just absurd. Here is a vertical flip. If I flip again, it's out of sight. Now, luckily, Smart Magnet Joint works with parented layers, so all I'll need to do is just press the tilde key and it will snap back into position. So what we have with parented layers and the Smart Magnet Rig tools, Smart Transform works fine. So I can do a Smart Transform selection like this. If I select this hand here and go Shift 1, which is inverse Smart Transform, it will chain select up the chain, and with the free transform tool I can modify this group of elements. Magnet snapping works. So if I move the hand away and select the lower arm and go inverse snap, which is Control plus tilde, the element will snap there. If I select these two and go tilde, they will snap back to the upper arm. Smart Magnet Joint works. Layer parenting toggle is just basically a button press, semicolon. Now everything is unparented, and now everything is parented again. So that makes it very easy to switch the shell on and off. What does not work is you can't use IK cleanup, and for Kineflex transformations you need direct access to the Smart Magnet Rig core. So if we need to do some adjustments to the poses using Kineflex, we will need, before that, to select the elements and unparent. The moment you unparent them, you have Kineflex access. So now we have Kineflex access to the core. Alright, let me just add another pose here and do something with this rabbit. I'll just make him squat a little bit. I'll switch these effectors, and I will kind of tilt him a little bit forward. I just want to have a little bit of more rotation in the pose so that we can see the benefits of parented layers and how they help us in the cleanup. Okay, so these are our two poses. I will activate a classic tween And obviously, the moment I did that, we see all the problems with classic tweens. Elements move in straight lines, and the figure just falls apart during tweening. Okay, so I'll select all the frames and I will activate the layer parenting shell. Everything is parented now, and all the elements now move kind of okay, with the only exception of feet and legs, which dig into the ground. If we want to adjust the pose, we can use the free transform tool. It just works fine with the parented layers, obviously, because it's a default tool. If I want to use Kinematics, I can't. I will need to unparent. It really is a matter of just a single key press, and then Kinematics will work. And when I'm done with my pose adjustment, I can reparent again. Now, if I would like to use IK cleanup for the legs, I will need to unparent them first, which means legs and feet will need to be unparented, just like this. Select all these layers and go unparent. Now, feet wouldn't even need to have any kind of tweening. I can see some undesired movement because of inaccuracies during tweening. Anyhow, let me just do an IK cleanup. I'll remove the tweens from these here. And I'll go IK cleanup. And for the other one as well, IK cleanup. Now, feet are perfectly static. The chains of the legs have been solved. And then the upper torso has been cleaned up using layer parenting. If I need to further adjust my pose, if it's just a minor adjustment, I can use the free transform tool. If I need to do more with it, say if I want to use the IK, I'll show my effectors. Possibly if I only want to adjust the arm, I will just unparent only the arm and adjust its position just like this, and then I can use the Smart Transform and parent again. Ideally, you would just be happy with your poses and your animation and then activate layer parenting when you're done to do the cleanup. This is pretty much what you can do. You can use Smart Magnet joints, you can use Smart Transform, you can use layer parenting toggle, and for Kinematics transformations, you need to release the shell so that you have direct access to the Smart Magnetic core. Now let's look into something which is much closer to an actual animated shot. This is a little test that I did probably more than a year ago when I was playing with the first early prototypes of the Smart Magnetic IK. So I'll publish the animation so that we can see it first. The character does a couple of steps and then he hops and lifts this yellow ball. I was testing how you can pin the feet and all that kind of nice stuff. I animated all of this in Flash CS6. Now let's look at the timeline. Pay attention to these keyframes with the green comment labels. These are the only places where I felt the need to clean up my arcs. So in all other situations, I did not really need any cleanup. I'll hide the effectors and I will remove these cleanup frames. So that we can see the animation without the cleanup. Okay, this leg here obviously needs some cleaning up. The amplitude between the keys is large and there's a lot of rotation. It makes no sense to clean everything. It only in practice is meaningful to clean up elements that are visibly losing their positions. So it becomes very obvious when you do your poses where you need to actually clean things up. So how shall we go about this? I would say we only need to parent these elements, and we only need to parent them somehow so that they don't really create problems further down. The thing is, if we parent everything, we'll face the problem of feet digging into the ground during inverse actions. So that's not really what you would like to do. So we only need to clean up this little section here. And in many cases, it's much neater and much cleaner to actually not use parented layers, but just the standard cleanup. Now, if I use the standard cleanup, I'll just select one of the elements and go Smart Transform and then press Alt and Q. And there you go, like I have these 4 extra keys here. And this section is cleaned up. Now, how would I go about it if I want to use layer parenting? I can make a block selection, but I can't select just the lower leg and the foot because the upper leg is sandwiched in between these two. So what would happen if I only parent these frames using the block mode, which is Alt plus semicolon? Now these are parented and they move the way we want them, but here's the funny stuff. Toward the next key, because the next key is unparented, the next tween broke. And the previous tween will break as well. So this is really not very practical, is it? I'll have to unparent, and if I insist on using parented layers, I will have to isolate these somehow. Either create keys on both sides so that I have a block that is isolated from the other keyframes, and now I can safely parent these. And now these are parented and cleaned up, and then nothing breaks and we head into the next keyframe. In practice, I'm not convinced that using parented layers to clean up just this one leg is actually a neater solution than using the classic EDAP tools cleanup. Now, if I want to clean up this leg here, again, the classic EDAP tools cleanup will be a much better option. I'll select only these two and go Alt Q. And there we go. We end up with having 4 extra keyframes in between. Nothing on the outside breaks, and these two were actually marked with frame labels, so we can identify them as automatically generated keyframes. This one needs more cleaning up. Let's look at it. Again, this is just two in-betweens, and if we are very, very determined to use layer parenting here, we will have to add keyframes on both sides to isolate this section here, and then we can go block mode, layer parenting, and go parented layers, and the result will be the same. Here we'll probably need to snap. I didn't pay attention that there was more of that disassembling going on. So snap, and now these are fairly close and you can't really tell that they break. So no more cleaning needed here. And this is very, very close to a real animation situation. So even for this leg that goes down, we can tell if we zoom in, we can tell that there is some unpleasant overlap here. But the question is, which one is the better option? And I will argue that normal standard EDAP tools cleanup is much better. I'll just select these two and go Alt Q. And there I am. So in most cases, our tried and tested command is much safer to use. And layer parenting is kind of fancy, and people who haven't used EDAP tools for a long time think that it might be actually great, and it may be great for some specific situations when you have long frame spans and many elements just slowly tweening along arcs. But in real life animation, it literally is nothing. It's just nothing. Now, what have we here? Here we probably need some IK cleanup for this IK chain, right? So let's show the controllers. Let's choose this one and go IK cleanup. Now the chain has been resolved. Here there's hardly need of anything. This arm here needs some cleanup. Again, there's only two in betweens. Wouldn't it be easier to just go 1 to chain select? Not even 1, I'll just go from here. 1 to select just these two and Alt Q. And now it's all cleaned up here. So again, in artificial situations, it might appear to be amazing to use layer parenting, but in real life, it just is almost useless when you have smart magnet rigs. Same here with the arms. Let's just go 1 and Alt Q. And there you go. There is a longer span here, but there isn't that much rotation, so the twins don't visibly break. And now we're already landed and the animation's finished. So in a real life situation, I would say that the idea of having a total layer parenting over an animation is just completely useless. In practice, it is just not a good idea. Anyhow, it's an option for everyone to explore and make their own decisions. That's from me. Thanks for watching.